No.
Actually, more than halfway.
No, because I like to think that medical technology is advancing faster than I'm aging. So at some point we'll be able to flip that switch and I'll just go full chrome and it will be fine.
That's also sort of my hope is like, that's why I do all the NAD stuff and all of these peptides, which God, I hope they don't cause me cancer.
So I see what you did there. You're just trying to hide the fact that you don't actually have a monster today. You've got
I don't, because
well,
you bought me a coffee. Thank you very much. Thank you. I did not have time to run into the corner store and get a Monster. So I figured coffee was actually a little healthier, perhaps.
Well, yeah, maybe.
I think so. I mean, the Monster has 160 milligrams of caffeine, and this, if they do a double shot, it would be 80. So
oh, really? Okay.
I feel like that's going to be a little healthier.
Coffee's healthy, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I don't feel bad about this being my third one of the day then.
Oh, no. I will have between 5 and 8 cups of coffee a day, which I know at some point I'm going to have to clear up.
It's always good when someone's worse than you. It makes you feel good about your life choices.
Well, that also makes me think about, my poor heart health. I'm sure at some point caffeine's good, but I know when you go over 400 milligrams, that's like your top of the recommended dose. And I'm towards like 500, sometimes 600. So
I try to be good about the not drinking coffee after 3 o'clock.
3? Oh, you go to sleep late.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stop at 11 or 12.
I don't succeed.
Really?
Yeah, quite annoying.
How can do you get to sleep okay?
I don't really sleep.
No, you don't. You don't. You see, I wanted to start with that topic because I was like, I'm tired about talking about AI tech. We can come back to that. And I was just like,
there's loads of change this week as well.
Well, I was like, just what's going on in life? And we had a conversation this week at work because it was somebody's birthday. And then since I'm generally the older one of our design team, they're like, how does it feel being
almost dead?
Yeah. They're like, you're basically going to hit 50 soon.
Uh-huh.
How does that feel? I was saying for the first time, it was around early 40s, you sort of have this moment where you're like, half my life is over, more than half of my life. I agree with you on the medical tech, but I'll bring it back to AI for a second because I am thinking to myself, my dad is such a computer nerd. I know he's got to be thinking like he's not going to be able to live to upload his consciousness, right? He's not going to get there another 10 or 20. This is what I want though. I'm like, just
but you can do that now. Have you
already.
not seen those companies in China where you can upload yourself? It will basically build an LLM trained on you and your personality. You can have it as a keychain. It's the most weird thing ever. I'll send you a link.
Send me a link. Have you seen The Prestige?
Yes, but yes, I have. But I need to think now.
Okay, so spoilers for anybody watching who doesn't want to get this spoiled. But at the end, basically, they do this thing where he transports from the stage to like the back of the theater. Movie about magicians, but then you actually find out it's a replication machine, and the person on stage just gets dropped into a tank of water and then something like drowns. Yeah. Right. And what I guess in that case, in that movie, consciousness preserves, but what because it has to, right? He does have his memories. So it's a clone of him and the memory. But what you said, is just a replica.
It's like the Star Trek teleporter. It's the same argument.
That's the thing. I'm like, how do I take the fact that I exist and I put it into something else so it has...
I'm not doing this conversation
I want continuity.
Again. Yeah, I'm not doing this conversation where we argue about how much of your brain does it need to continue to be you if you replace bits of it.
What is the ship? What is the... I used to know this. It's not Theseus ship of Theseus.
Trigger's broom. As a very UK reference about the caretaker who replaces his broom is 20 years old. It's as good as the day he bought it. He's replaced the head 5 times and replaced the shaft 10 times, but his broom's as good as new.
Yeah. I mean, that's not where I was going with it. I was actually going to the fact that when am I going to be able to upload my consciousness? And then what you said was interesting. And then I thought, but it doesn't have continuity.
Yeah.
And I want content. And I don't know, I go back to a book that I had read a while ago called Diaspora, if that's how you pronounce it correctly. And I just remember at one point, one of the characters who was a hybrid human.
So diaspora is the word I learned recently, which I see a lot. I've never learned the meaning of it. And I believe it means people are transplanted from their home.
No, not at all. Oh, no, not at all. No,
now you have to.
It is like the elements of what make up your surrounding. Oh, wait, no, sorry. Yeah, no, I'm confusing that. I'm confusing that.
Look it up.
Oh, man, what am I confusing that with, though?
Because I was told I didn't know it because I was very English.
Okay, wait, maybe it's not. No, Diaspora. No, you're. Yeah.
It's a population dispersed across multiple regions outside its geographic place of origin.
Crap, what am I thinking of then? Oh.
My learning works.
No, okay. No, because you were totally right. And now I'm like, was that the actual...
What are you thinking of, though?
Yeah, was that the book I was reading? Wait, now I'm going to look this up. All right, this took a turn for the weird.
Well, while you're doing that, while you're looking, I'll give you another weird one.
Yeah,
I've been looking
please.
into quantum immortality, which is, you heard that theory?
No, but this may be when I find out the actual name of the book. Is it the idea that I can replicate myself across multiple consciousnesses?
Okay.
So, and this is what the book was. Like, this being replicates herself, sends herself to different planets from Earth. And then it was like, well, doesn't it bother you knowing that you'll have all these other replicas of their... And the character was like, no, because actually I have it set up with a mesh network. And as soon as one person hits a planet that they can live on, all the others get like killed, basically.
So it's all gone a bit Rick and Morty.
Yes. Well, so it's the idea that the person still has the idea of I'm a human and I want that experience. And so therefore I will replicate myself in order to preserve life. But once I've established life somewhere, I will drop all the others. So there you go. Now tell me about your quantum one while I look this up.
I don't know how I got into this, but quantum immortality is the theory that you're essentially immortal and that there are all these parallel timelines.
Oh, yeah. Multiverse. Yes.
Yes, okay, but the one that you're in, if you die in that one, you're always in the one that you would survive in. So you might die in other ones, but the one you're in, which is kind of the same thing as sort of main character syndrome, where everyone's a main character. I quite like that.
No, it is called Diaspora. Okay,
I haven't read that.
I feel like I'm thinking of another word now, and I don't know what the word is.
But tell me about the book.
No, I mean, that was, well, the point of bringing up the book was just that whole idea of consciousness and replication and what you just said and having continuity.
Yeah, okay.
But the book itself is interesting. It's based, I don't know, a couple hundred years in the future. And there are 3 different types of beings. I've mentioned this on the podcast before. You have fleshers, which are humans.
Yeah, you have.
You have, I think it's glaciers, which are digital and human. And then you have the full digital.
Yeah.
And the book starts out with a digital being teaching another digital being about sort of their plane of life.
Yeah, okay.
And they have this conversation about how time works for them versus how time works for humans. That's interesting.
So what are you aiming for, the middle or full chrome?
I hadn't thought about that if you just put it that way to me.
I like to think life is about experiencing things. I think we'll start with the middle and then we'll migrate to my full chrome. What do Pokemon do? Next
evolution.
Yeah.
What is that? You go Charmander to Charmeleon to Charizard, but what is that progression? I just know that character because when I was a teenager, there's a bar/arcade that's famous in the US called Dave and Buster's.
Okay.
And you go there as an adult to get drunk and play arcade games, but they also have you get tickets so you can win things.
Yeah, cool.
So I started getting tickets and all of this, and I ended up winning a gigantic Charizard. Or I guess it was it wasn't a Charizard. It was a Charmander. Okay. Would have been Charmander, first phase. I don't, but I kept it in the back of my car, strapped in with a seatbelt until I gave the car away around 2026, perhaps.
Wow.
And if you want the story to get even stranger, so you have this giant orange plushie sitting in the back. This thing is like half a meter tall. The car itself, I had purchased from a friend. Now this friend, his entire family was doctors.
Okay.
He is now a doctor.
Right.
His brother is now a doctor. So why I bring that up is because they had a good amount of money to spend. So they got a car, not a fancy car, but it was a Ford Mercury Sable, 4-door. However, they customized the entire car green, like a dark green.
Okay.
Everything was green. Wow. The steering wheel was green. These seat belts were green.
Really?
The floor mats were green. Everything was green. And since this was one of my friends from high school and I'd known the car from his family, I never thought it was that weird. When I purchased it, then everybody was like, the hell is wrong with your car, dude? Yeah, like, why is everything green?
That's cool.
Good diagram. I mean, it was a unique car. And eventually I kept driving it when I was working at Microsoft, and I parked it in the parking lot one day and it just didn't start.
Oh, no.
And I just got out of the car and I'm like, well, guess that's it.
The end of that.
And I left it there for about a year.
Oh, well.
Microsoft will give you tickets if you do this, which I didn't know when I had to go to like an internal website to find out. And I'd gotten like 90 tickets or something on it. They don't charge you. It's just like, move your stupid car, move your car. Finally, I called a donation service and I was like, please just take the car. Like, I'm never touching this thing again. I don't even know if there's stuff in the trunk. And I think the Charmander was still there when it was gone, because I don't remember ever giving it away or anything else. So I'm guessing it must have been there.
It's in there. Do you know, it's interesting. I think with cars, I have a weird relationship with cars. I love my cars, never buy boring cars. I always buy a car that life is too short for boring cars. So I buy cars I will enjoy for some reason. I've never bought a dull car yet.
According to you.
Well, but so I drive a ridiculous Dodge Ram at the moment, which is great.
Yes, huge.
Yeah, I do very big cars, very little cars. But my point with this is that I sometimes look at what's happened to them, and it's not completely possible. It's not super easy to find out where your car was. But I used to have an old MR2 back in the 90s. 90s? Yeah, late 90s I had it.
What's an MR2?
It's a Toyota.
Okay, Toyota.
You know the...
2-door, 4-door?
It's 2-door. So
okay.
So it was a Japanese import, and it had been built to race. So
did it have a spoiler on it?
It had a ridiculous spoiler on it and a Veilside kit on it. It was obscene, this car. And it was really, really quick because it had been built for racing, and it had been brought over from Japan, from a racing team in Japan, and given to some estate agent bought it, and he bought two, one to give to each of his young female staff, and they crashed it and then sold it, and I bought it and sorted it out, and it was I nearly killed myself in it half a dozen times. It was so fast. The clutch on it, you couldn't drive it for that long because it was so heavy, because it was a racing clutch, and it was mental. It would do 0 to 60 in about 3 seconds. So it was crazy fast, and it wasn't really built for speed. So you get it over 120 miles an hour and it would just start shaking. And I'm like, okay, this is probably...
Yeah, I mean, so the car I talked about, that's the only car I've ever had in my life. So when I gave that up 20 years ago, I haven't had a car since.
Yeah, okay.
I've only rented cars. I do have a driver's license. I can drive, but I've only ever rented cars. Yeah. Well, yes, actually. Oh, man. I thought I was a pretty decent driver. And I went with a friend to Montenegro. Okay. And the plan was to drive all over the country. Yeah, okay. And I was the driver.
Okay.
I thought I was fine.
Yikes.
And now I can't tell because Montenegro has a lot of switchbacks where you're like going up a really tall mountain, like zigzagging.
Yeah.
But man, my poor friend next to me, she was sick. I got to say like 50% of the time in the car. Yeah, okay. If we were on just a normal highway, it was okay. But Montenegro is a very mountainous country.
Yeah, okay.
And yeah, I felt so bad for her. But it was the first time I also was like, am I bad at driving? Is that like, I didn't think I was.
Turns like that, and if you're driving, you don't feel it. When we lived in West Coast,
I didn't feel it at all. That was the thing.
We used to live in Muir Beach in California, which is right on the west coast of San Francisco. And to get there, it's like a road like that. It's like zigzags all the way. And when you get used to it, and you've been there for like 6 months, you drive quite fast down it because you learn all the curves and you know how fast you could push your car. And I had quite a nice Audi at the time, and I would thrash it a bit, and then you give people a lift and you realize they've gone green when you go around a couple of turns, and you're like, well, I'm fine, why are you not fine? Okay, probably slow it down a bit.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like if I'm spinning myself around in a circle, right, I can snap my head, I can keep a focal point so I don't get dizzy. But if somebody else like picks me up and spins me around, then I'm going to have problems. Although I don't think, given my size, a lot of people can easily pick me up and spin me around. Well, which is probably a good thing, I guess, in theory. I have no desire to talk AI. Well, no, we'll get there, I guess. I don't know. I don't have a huge desire to talk about it. I was just like, I want a friendly chat, so screw it. I'm just going to talk about life.
Yeah, that sounds good.
But I will bring it to to AI, but not necessarily to our normal topics. But I woke up. So I think everybody knows I wake up at around 3. I get to my coffee place. It was 4:15 or whatever like that. And then I messaged you and you responded.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And I was like, wait, why are you awake? And you said you woke up at 2. I thought it was out of excitement to go program AI, but it turns out it was because of construction.
So I went to bed at 11, which I don't usually go to bed at 11. I usually go to bed at like 1 or 2 o'clock or something.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no wonder you drink coffee so late.
I drink a lot of coffee. So I went to bed at 11 thinking I was very virtuous and smug. Okay, I'm getting an early night for me. I'll get proper 8 hours sleep for once. And then we've got a big construction thing going on not very far from us. And at about 2 o'clock, we just heard this dull, vibrating noise resonating through the house that woke me up. I'm like, lay there for a bit, went, yeah, I'm not going to sleep through that. And so I thought I'll just get up, maybe get a drink, and I'll just go and check what my agents are doing while I'm sleeping, just make sure they're still working. I go and then got sucked in. And then before I know it, it's like 10 o'clock. I'm like, oh, I'm doing a podcast soon. So I've got 8 hours of work done before we came here, which is great.
That happened to me a bit on Thursday night. I went to sleep. I don't know what it was, a little later than normal, but that was, 8 p.m. I probably woke up at 11 or 11:30 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And I have this bad habit of checking my phone.
Yeah, that's terrible.
I should not do that because I saw some emails come in and then I tried to go back to sleep and I was like, nope, I'm up. So I woke up, got about 2 hours of work, and then I felt less anxious because I was like, okay, I got this stuff done. Got back in bed.
So here's the thing: when you're talking about earlier about you feeling about is your half your life over?
Yeah.
I think there are certain people in this world. I think I don't want to criticize anyone because everyone has their own path. But I see people I see them starting to slow down. I see them finding, well, I don't have much to do. I get bored. Honestly, I go through every day wishing I could find more hours in the day because there is not enough time to do what I want to do. So I find that, yes, I'm a complete dopamine addict. I wholeheartedly admit it, that I sit and I chase agents and I solve things from literally every moment I can get. I'm trying to play with things and build things, but it's very addictive, but it's also very rewarding as well. And I think that when you slow down, you see it when people retire, when they have no focus in what they're doing, and you see them stop doing what they're used to and not replacing it with something. That's when they start to get old. I don't feel old at the moment. I mean, I am 52 now, and I am more fired up than I think at least as fired up as I've ever been about what I'm doing. Like I say, I would stop sleeping if I could get away with it.
I would as well, and it's weird because for 25 years of my career, or if you include internships, almost 30, I've had people tell me, you're gonna burn out, right? And the only time I feel like I was really close to burnout, or quote unquote did burn out, it's because I just really didn't like my job.
I burned out, and it's because I didn't have control over the stress. I think when you're in control, you don't. When you're pushing yourself, then I don't think you burn out. When you're being pushed by other things you can't control, I think that's when you.
I guess
some stress.
I always look at it like my emotions and feelings are mine. So it's whatever, like other people can always say or do things, but it's how I react to that. So I always think of like, even if it's external pressure, that stress is still mine to manage. And I think that's very relevant for this particular part of the world because God knows it comes with a hell of a lot of stress to be here.
It does.
And I think my stress management has become better since I've gotten here. But also at the same time, I just live in such a completely different way. I do want to start meditating again.
I should do that. It's a good thing to do.
Well,
but it's time away from doing stuff.
Well, and so, okay, let me give you a counter to that. I forget where I read this, but it was something about as you work through the day, your ability to focus sort of starts to slowly decline, right? Your mental energy.
Ability to focus, right? I have coffee.
But then somebody was saying, if you want to get that back, just take, I think it was 20 minutes, not coffee, but I'd like 20 minutes and just stare at a blank wall.
Okay.
And
that's
interesting.
It.
And it was this idea of resetting your brain. And I thought to myself, does that work? Then what I realized is a lot of times, because I fly so much, I'll get on a plane and my brain is just going. And then I get on the plane and I sit and there's nothing to do.
Oh, I have a thing for this.
Right?
Finish
and so there's like 20 minutes where you're putting your phone in flight mode to the point that you have like, to the point that you're sort of leveled off so that, upward tick of the plane, you've leveled off so you can get up, you can walk around if you want. For those 20 minutes, I usually just close my eyes and I'll just breathe or relax. As soon as I hear that ding for the seatbelt, I all of a sudden feel like super powered to be like, let's fucking get work done. Right. Especially if it's Emirates and they have Starlink. And I think to myself, okay, that actually does work. That's sort of the idea of why I like meditation. Because I think if I take 20 minutes out and do this, I'm going to be so much better for the next 3 or 4 hours. And I can crank out more and I can focus better.
So
take that.
So what I found recently is I don't work on planes. I need a bit of room, and no, not at all. I can't. I need room to put things down, and when I can get away with it on a computer. I can my home computer's got a massive screen, so I can lay things out. But if I'm working on a laptop, I need bits of paper around me to reference stuff. I've struggled to work on a small screen, so I don't work on a screen, particularly because I haven't got a mouse, and trying to use my touchpad on my Mac is just horrible. So I don't.
You don't.
But what I found I can do instead, and this is back to, I remember a couple of podcasts ago, I told you that I sat the Anthropic exam and screwed it up.
Yes.
Because I didn't bother learning anything for it. I just went into it because I'm an idiot. I've since spent the time going over and over the material and now scoring 100% on all the exams until I'm now ready to resit it. And now I can't. The registration's not working, which is driving me crazy. But at some point I will sit it and I want to get 90 plus and I'll be happy. But my point with this is that I found that what I can do on planes is I can do Udemy courses, I can learn. So, and that is the best thing ever, is I find something I want to learn and it's the right sort of pace. I can do it on a phone, I can do it in a taxi, I can keep going, I can do it in bed when I should be sleeping. I can even do it while my agents are running and I'm waiting for them to finish. I stick it on a screen, I can keep things going. So the continuity is fabulous. From a computer screen to my laptop screen, not so much that, but to my phone, to a tablet, it's all the same. It all joins up really well. And sorry, and do you know what else?
Okay.
You can also get transcripts out of it. So the better, yes, I'm such a nerd with this. You get transcripts out of it.
From Udemy or?
Yes.
Okay.
Or I think I'm using a plugin for it, but so a plugin gets all the transcripts of all the courses. And then I stick it into my agent, which is what I've done with my platform, and say, right, all this foundational learning about how the course I'm doing applies the Anthropic Agent SDK, use that as the fundamental basis for my architectural design. Everything I'm doing, just check I'm staying in sync with that. So I'm over the moon about this closed loop.
Interesting. So here's where I struggle on that. I am going to ask an AI question in a moment.
See how I dragged it back to AI?
No, it's good. What you just said, I can't remember what motor function it is. Like there's executive function in your brain and these other things. For me to do that type of learning, I almost only do it walking.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I cannot sit still. If I'm sitting still, my brain needs to be thinking of something and actively engaged in creation.
So I get that.
Okay.
I write notes. I don't necessarily look at the notes
Physical or digital?
Physical. And it's deliberate.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
And it's like the same reason I write in notebooks during calls is because it's not because I'm necessarily going to ever look at those notes again. It's because by writing them, it puts it into your brain.
Totally. And I keep notebooks with me all the time and I write from meetings. Yeah. A lot of times I will look back at that because I'll have to type up meeting notes, which, God, that is so incredibly useful. I think that's not a lost art, but I am so shocked. Yeah. In this region, I never see anybody with notebooks open, taking notes, or not never, rarely. And I think to myself, like, man, that like it.
There's an arrogance there, I think. They say, "Oh, I'll just remember it all," but you won't.
No,
you remember bits, and if you're good, you'll remember more bits. But
you remember things that are important to you.
Yes, exactly. So I do take notes on my phone. It's not as good. That gives me a record I can refer to, but by writing, it actively, that mechanical art, you say, it puts it into your brain.
Do you feel with all of the agents set up and the AI software that you're building and all this, do you know where I'm going to, okay.
Go on.
I feel like I'm not able to focus as well.
Yes.
Because of what you just brought up. I'm gonna wake up and check what my agents are doing. So I'll set Claude off on doing a few different tasks for me, but then I keep having to alt tab back. Like, is it asking me questions? Did it reach a gate?
Yeah.
And so I'm constantly switching back and forth, which to your point is giving me those little dopamine hits. And I notice now, comparatively to 3 years ago, my ability to focus is, I'll say it's much more difficult for me to focus.
I can't watch TV anymore.
Okay, does this bother you when you watch movies and like there's a slow moment in the movie and you're like, just please come on. I know where this is going. Let's get it done now.
I'm deliberately watching movies at the moment to not go too far down this rabbit hole because you have to retain some ability to focus, because otherwise I find myself when you're talking to people, you're like, well, like an agent, I know where you're going. I'm going to finish your sentence and I just move on. So I don't want to wait for you to finish it, and you can get very rude. But what I find is that when that focus side of things, you have to build coping mechanisms. So what I do with most, because I run like 4 or 5 agents at once, is probably my sweet spot. I'll write a build plan for each one of them, and I'll go through it and I'll understand the build plan. I'll talk to it, get to a point where I'm happy with it, and I'll get it to save it. And then when I come back to it, I will say, remind me what we're doing. Because I vaguely know, but I'll miss stuff. So remind me what we're doing. When I'm there at 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night, and I'm just trying to make the right decisions, I'm like, remind me why we're doing this. That's why having the ability to train stuff on like things like the Anthropic SDK, agent SDK is really important. So you're not training on the things you want it to learn.
What you're bringing up is interesting. There is, for both of us, I don't know how to say this, but it's like a cone of reality, right? Like how we engage with news sites or with YouTube or with Instagram. This is based off a certain reality that we have. I don't know if you've ever looked at somebody else's Instagram, but it's crazy, or somebody else's YouTube. Because in my world, YouTube is what I have.
Yeah.
And that's just for some reason what I think everybody has. But then you look at somebody else's YouTube and you remember like, oh my God, this is so different.
Yeah. Okay.
And what
I see it on Facebook. I use because I'm old. I use Facebook more.
Yeah,
than
I know.
Instagram.
Yeah, you send me Facebook links, and I'm like, dude, come on.
I use it because that's where a lot of my friends are, and that's where I get content the right way. And it's got Marketplace, which I like as well. And the best thing I've discovered this week is Claude Desktop with Marketplace. But the reason why I say that is because if I search for things, I'm on a big push at the moment to build an AI machine. So I've been doing a lot of searching for parts, and my feed has completely shifted from being about one topic to now being about various parts of AI development, and even more than it was to parts and computers and building them and other things that it thinks are related to what I'm doing as it tries to guess why I'm buying computer parts. But
I want to know what Facebook, as a company, Meta, I should say, has on me. Because if you look at my Instagram, like my search page or the sort of, For You page on Instagram, it has got to be the closest thing to like white man midlife crisis that you are going to run into. It is watches, it is men working out, and it is jujitsu. And you're like, I can't get more peak midlife crisis than this. However, the reason I was going back to that sort of realm of like your perception of what the world is. A few days ago, I was flipping through TikTok. Surprisingly, despite the fact that I listen to almost all heavy metal, none of my TikTok is heavy metal.
Okay.
And so it randomly came up. This video randomly popped up on TikTok that was like the top 10, new great bands that you should be listening to, or whatever it is, like my deep cut top 10 thing. And I found this band called Fulci, which is named after Lucio Fulci, which is an Italian horror director from the 80s, doing like zombie movies and all of this, which I absolutely love. So I know him. I know all of his movies. And I was like, how did I not know this band? So it was death metal, but all about like his movies and a tribute to him. So it's this combination of death metal and synthwave, like these scores for movies. And all I could think was, we have all of this great technology. We have all of this personalization. And yet it couldn't figure out that this is a band that I was going to love. I've never heard of this band. Yeah. And I was like, come on, somebody, how are you not telling? You know I love zombie movies. Yeah. You know I love classic zombie movies. You know I love metal. How do you not merge these things? So to me,
let down by technology.
There is still a data play here that AI and everybody is missing out. Just somebody connect the data for me to expand my sphere of like the perceptible world. Because there is so much more that I feel like I'm just missing as a person. And I want somebody to just say, hey, here's something you're probably really interested in.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think we assume that technology works as well as it promises. And I've had a couple of examples recently this week where I've seen that it hasn't and it doesn't. The first one was this was my Claude desktop experience, my conversion, my evangelism started with looking on Facebook for building an AI machine. I wanted something which is designed to run multiple graphics cards. So it's not really gaming machines because you might get 2 if you're lucky in that. And I want at least 3, I think. Maybe
spending
4.
some money on that RAM, huh? Somebody must have gotten bonus. Jesus.
Oh my God.
Hey.
But so what I wanted was something like a Threadripper machine. And so I went on Facebook Marketplace and searched for a Threadripper.
What is a Threadripper? I've seen this. You have talked about this in the chat.
It's just a type of motherboard. It's a type of motherboard. They're not that new. It's like 2020, I think mine is.
Because that sounds to me like it's doing a lot of parallel compute.
Yeah, it's got 32 cores in it versus I think my desktop's got 16, I think, if I remember. Is that right? I'd have to check that. But it's not faster than my desktop machine necessarily, but I can put more graphics cards in it. And the thing about that is I can have more virtual RAM, which means I can run bigger models. So it is a game changer. In terms of running AI at home. I mean, I've got a really good gaming machine and I can run models reasonably quickly, but they're quite small. Now I can go to the next size up and it's competent and it's quite fast. I could go to the next size up, but it'll go really slow. And then the things that you use in the cloud are several steps away from that. So that's the trouble we've got at the moment. We can't really run them at home.
If you could, would you have a complete like home or I'll say on-prem setup?
Well, for everything.
Yeah, for me, I'm curious on how much I can move to thin clients.
Yeah, so that's basically what I'm aiming for. But you won't get away from frontier models just yet. Not for a couple of years, I don't think. So
yeah. Well, wait. You're aiming for everything to be in the cloud.
So I'll finish this and then I'll
answer that. Okay.
So I went on Facebook to say, I talk to agents, talk to ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, and say, right, what do I need? What's the best setup to run this size of model with a couple of graphics cards that I can build to a few more? And it says, you need this motherboard, you need a Threadripper. So I'm like, okay, I'll go on Facebook Marketplace. Let's find that then. And it says, there are no results. I'm like, okay, fine. Have a look for other things which are similar. There's none of them either because everybody wants them for AI machines or for mining machines because they can run lots of cards. So there's a big drive at the moment to buy certain bits of hardware more than there was before. That's why RAM's got really expensive, and that's why certain graphics cards are really expensive. They're hard to find. I thought I'd go on Claude. Claude desktop, I've never tried it. I wanted to be able to use it. Say, right, you go and find stuff because I can't be bothered. Have a look on Facebook, and and it said you should find a Threadripper. I'm like, no shit. That's why I know this, but I can't find one. I'm like, you go and see if you can find something similar that I've not heard of. Go and have a look for it. Within 5 seconds, it came back saying, I found you a Threadripper. I'm like, what? I'm like, on Facebook. I'm like, no, you haven't. And it linked to me. Oh, yes, you have. I'm like, how? Because I searched for it.
So is it spelled weird? Like,
no.
It annoys me when these tools don't do good string adjustment. Like if I write something in 3 words and it should be 1 word, it doesn't do like a search for 3 words and then do a string replace for the spaces and search for 1 word. I'm like, come on, be smart about this.
The short answer is Facebook Marketplace search isn't very good. And the way it was set up, it was something like Threadripper space / the model name space / something else. And there is no reason you look at it going, well, that should find it, and it doesn't. So Claude Desktop does a very good job of that. It burns through credits, I think, like no tomorrow, but it does a good job of that. So I'm like, it has got a use case now for me.
How is it searching? Is it like opening up multiple queries?
Browsers. Yeah, open browsers and take control of the browsers.
Do you, when you do that on a different computer? How do you, because when Claude takes over my desktop, it like takes it over. right? So it annoys me where I'm like, okay, I want to put your browser on a different screen and have you go crazy on that. Like, leave this screen alone.
I like what I said. Facebook's annoying because I'll be using it for other things and it will take control of all of them, and I'm like, that irritates me a bit. I have to step away from it and just let it do its thing. But it will just stay confined to the browser. So, but yeah, I forgot what you asked. What your other?
Who knows? I don't remember at all.
Oh yeah, would I go to the cloud? So what I'm building at the moment is a harness to basically say, well, and that's what my brain report I keep sharing with you is to look at the different use cases, which are typically I want to talk to the LLM, so a chat and do routing, so it takes my requests and points them at the right agent to do the job. Things like summaries, things like search, things like long summaries. Things like coding and direct coding versus planning and then managing other coding agents. So there's loads of different jobs. What I wrote was a harness that will basically pull in loads of different models and will pick the best model for the job that it works out every day, which is the right one. That's what I'm fighting with a little bit at the moment. It's almost there.
With all of this, do you have a goal in mind, or is it just like, nope, like I'm building a sandcastle and sometimes it gets swept away? And I'm just enjoying the process of building it, knowing that this is not all for naught, but it's more of
it's a hobby.
I mean, it's the same thing with me and jiu-jitsu, right? I'm never going to be a fighter. I don't plan to ever even enter a tournament. I have no desire to get thrown really hard on the ground.
There are outcomes. There are valuable outcomes to it. So I can't lie. It is a entertaining hobby in its own right, building this stuff. Am I ever going to sell the platform?
Bad.
No, I'm probably never going to sell the platform. I'm not designing to sell it, but it's like I'm building a music mastering program, which I've already used.
Which looks awesome.
And it's great. It works really well. And the ugly version works really well. I'm now going to make it pretty version. I've started playing with making music and making music videos after playing with open art. Anybody watching this thinking about trying open art, save your money. It's useless and it'll burn through money like no tomorrow.
Open art,
or trying to do. There's a lot of stuff I see on, and probably because of my algorithm, I see one prompt music video directing, or people say you put a prompt in, it will direct your music video for you, or direct your trailer for you. And what I found is they're rubbish. You need to do so many iterations. Like I burned $100 getting something that's useless.
I mean, but I'll say if your point is to make a music video, 100 is not a real investment comparatively to making a real music video. I mean, the cheapest music video that you're going to make is, with iPhones and handheld cameras, and you sort of, go back to 1980s skaters.
I didn't get something useful for $100. I got crap. AI crap is the problem.
Well, but that's because I'm guessing this is early on in your usage of this.
No, because it's designed to say, I'm giving you a prompt and I'll flesh it out, I'll direct it for you, and I'll give you the output. And what it generates is crap. However, what they're doing is they're layers on top of a thing called Seed Dance 2, which is produced by Byte Plus, a Chinese company. Get rid of the middlemen, connect directly to Seed Dance 2 and write your own directing. And you can do that. So what I did is I worked through it with an agent in the browser.
How do you connect to Seed Dance?
Go to Byte Plus and you set up an API key there and then do it through.
Okay, so it's an API. Okay.
Yeah. So, but then do your own directing. So what I did was I just spent a long time talking to ChatGPT. So I want to write a process. Let's just talk through how we do it, and we'll turn it into a process as we go. And the end output was, here's a workflow that I'll turn into an agentic workflow, and then be able to do multiple videos doing this. It's much, much better as a result than the garbage coming out of OpenArt. And it's cheaper than Higgsfield. OpenArt's really expensive. Higgsfield's a bit cheaper. This is probably half to 2/3 the price of Higgsfield's going directly, as long as you can build that connection yourself.
I am planning to publish a website that is a combination of tools from another person I work with and myself, but it's just for internal people within Sapient to use. Well, specifically because they're going to be using my API key, which will be costing me money. But I'm also like, I think I can donate $50 or $100 of API calls and get something tested out by multiple people and just see, is any of this useful? And then what I really want to know is what would make it useful. Going back to the sphere of influence or the sphere of perceptible reality, what is useful to me is probably only 10% useful to somebody else.
But I think the process is good. So why I do this stuff is...
Yes, and that's what I was asking. Is it...
So for emphasis, the reason what I'll take from this is not music videos or music mastering, but it is the agentic workflow. So all my agents and the flow is designed to be portable, so I can take the same thing and apply it on a different platform very easily, all set up with the right architecture. So by playing with things that I get joy out of, I can then take it to something which I equally get joy out of, but for a commercial purpose.
And that was sort of my point with the question. It is both purposeless and purposeful at the same time, which I think is actually a great thing. Yeah. It's pretty cool. We got to wrap up. I absolutely love that we just
everything
just had a conversation.
Yeah, man. That's good.
It was nice. I also noticed both of us talked a lot faster because we were just like excited about talking about whatever. But I'll see you next week. Are you in town next week?
I think I am.
I don't know either, but I hope so. All right, man. Catch you soon.